Oh, the gang is here, everybody. What? Happy Friday. That was interesting talking about the Stephen A. Smith thing. I've said that. You guys have heard me say that. That guy's the leader. He didn't want to be the leader, right? Like if it's AOC, it's this person, it's that person. They have no leader, and it's certainly nobody they have. But I was talking about AOC. You know, like her, hate her, whatever. I mean, I know Belle has quite a crush on her, and it's totally fine. But the thing about her is, man, she's Bernie in a lot of ways. Better at social media, obviously. No offense, I love Bernie, but Bernie's great at being a meme by not acting. Remember when he sat there with the mittens, all upset in the cold weather? Oh, the little. Yeah, but when she talks, a lot of the stuff she says, you'd be surprised how many of you probably agree with some of the stuff she said, even though it's I remember when she took on somebody from the Pentagon, some of the defense contractors, she's like, hey, why does this ring that cost a nickel cost $15,000? Why do you charge us $15,000? You know, just stuff like that. She could be somebody in the future. But right now, they got nothing. They don't have anything. And the people that would be, I think they're waiting for the dust to settle. Because just like Josh Shapiro and several other people in the world of Democratic politics, I think they want to let some of the stench get off of this nastiness. Because they're just a hot mess. Hot mess. Department of Education, I hear it's gone, but it's not. You guys do realize it's not actually gone. As much as I think a lot of people want it to be gone. And Trump can do so much, but he can't get rid of an agency. So and I read through a lot of stuff. So what happens is he signs the order, right? Because Congress is the only one who can get rid of it. So that's as we've talked about with them. Thank God they have Elon trying to do stuff because we know they're not going to do anything. So then what ends up happening is it's kind of put on the pathway. Now he can reorganize it. He can do a lot of things, but eliminating it, he can't. And just like you've seen with USAID and several other things, there's just some things that the power only goes so far. The Constitution says this, and that's where Congress, you would think, stand up and go, that's kind of our job. But nobody ever wants to. You want to say that's our job when you're on the other side and you can't do anything. I do have a buddy who is, who is a congressperson. And we talked, and he said, he told me, he said, off the record, being in the minority party in a safe district, knowing you're always going to be reelected, is the best place to be. I can raise all the money I need, saying I'm fighting against whatever. I can say whatever I want, and I have zero responsibility because nothing we're going to do is ever going to really get through. So there's never any blowback, which is a sad place to be, but it is what it is. But I'm glad Trump took this step, and the reason is simple. We need a change. We do. It hasn't worked for a long time. We've spent a lot of money. And the funny thing is, everyone talks about all the money we spend. A vast majority of that, when you look at Europe and they spend a ton of money, they say, well, they're spending this much. Well, where's it go? It goes to the classroom. Most of it gets to the classroom. Here, it's like it has to go through strainers before it ever gets anywhere. And even when it gets somewhere, So you have to reorganize, and you have to and that's the thing. Now it's up to them to figure out how they reorganize this. But the thought of, now kids with disabilities aren't going to get anything. That's not true. By the way, my little brother, he's got disabilities. All of it comes from the state. All of it does. Very little federal money out in California. So that because part of it is because getting the money it's hoop after hoop after hoop.
As these administrative functions change and things are reorganized, we would expect that they would just come under a different management style.
And that's what's going to happen. A different management style. So as I got very nerdy last night, and I tend to do, and early this morning, I say night, it's like 2:30 in the morning. 84.6% of every dollar given by the Department of Education we're talking individuals, not the education itself, but the Department of Education went to Democrats. So what do you think? And the very little money that was given by one or two donors that gave to both sides. Because you know what? You do that. Some people, they do that. Like, especially if you ever go to Open Secrets. Have you ever been to Open Secrets, KJ? If you go to Open Secrets, it tells you where all the money goes because you have to be transparent with that. So it tells you who gets what. And it's a really you can go down a rabbit hole there. So, but you will find some, like obviously unions for the most part, they're going to give to the left. Police unions will give to the right. But you start breaking it down. But you get to certain industries, they give equally because they don't care about who's in power. Because all they want is stability. But when you have 86%, it's like a newsroom. What was that thing last year? Like 98% of all newsrooms in this country are Democrats. Well, you can't have any real conversations with anybody if you're going to have a bias like that. Even if it was, even if it was 90%, even if it was 80%, you can't. And it's the same thing here. So now it's time for parents to stand up. And I don't think anything's going to change as far as whether or not kids are not going to get certain things and stuff. Is that possible? Of course. Now, there could be other things. That's the one thing I always talk about is we always sit here and go, oh, you know what? They're taking away all this stuff. Well, hold on. They're moving it around. Your first inclination for people is it's not going to be as good. It's going to be worse. I'm losing out. You never say to yourself, hey, I wonder if what they're thinking about doing is going to be better. Ooh, maybe. Maybe that has to be. Because so much of what they're talking about, those are laws. Like especially with disabilities and stuff, those are laws. So even if the Department of Education wasn't there, guess what? They're laws to protect.
Nothing about the congressional act around providing special education services, whether it's through the equal protections of education, have changed.
What? No way. Yeah, nothing. So that'll still be there. So it's just now, can Congress get some stuff done to really finish this thing off, which is going to be tough because they don't have 60 votes. Yeah, you may be able to get it to the Senate, but you're never going to get it that much further. And that's going to be very frustrating for a lot of people. But I also like to see, okay, who's voting for what? Who's going to put themselves out there? Who's going to put themselves out there? Who's going to do it in a way where you're like, okay, you really believe this? Because a lot of times, like I said, with the whole Elon thing, one of the things that has been, well, many people are running around champion a lot of what Elon's doing, even on the right. They're championing it. But if push came to shove, would they back it to the mat? That's a different story. Because he's taking the bullets. He's the one who has to stand up. He's the one that's doing all of this. And when push came to shove and you find out, well, in my district, there's a lot of jobs lying on it. In my district, there's a lot of this. It becomes a different story. Because one thing we know about Congress is they're fine giving away. They don't want to give away their position. They don't want to give away a little bit of their power. But they don't want responsibility. That's for damn sure. So much good stuff to get to today. Hey, Ken, what's happening, brother? You and I wearing shorts. Ken's wearing shorts today. I'm wearing shorts.
I am indeed.
Even though it's cold outside.
Yeah, I went walking in shorts this morning.
You know what? It's not cold. It's brisk.
It was pretty cold when I did.
Well, that's because
my car was frosted over this morning, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Mine was 7:30 this morning.
Well, I don't know.
This isn't spring.
But it didn't bother me.
Spring?
No, it's everybody's like, you're wearing shorts. I'm like, I'm inside. I'm inside sitting next to, apparently, the only place they could put heat in this room off all these computers. So my right leg is always on fire. I'm indoors all day. What do we look like this weekend as far as our
going to be a great first half of the weekend. Then the second half, starting around dinner time Sunday, we could have severe storms. But we are on the lowest of levels.
So we're not looking like last Saturday?
No.
Okay. I want to make sure about that.
No, not looking like that. I mean, it's a level 1 out of 5 risk. But even in that level 1, you've got the potential for all the things, including isolated tornadoes.
Okay. This is going to be fun.
We'll have to keep an eye on it.
I'm excited.
Keep an eye on the sky, as they say.
Keep an eye on the skies. What's going on in Heathrow? We figured that out yet?
They have not, man. It's still closed.
I've been to Heathrow, I don't know, probably a couple hundred times because I flew in and out of there all the time. And yeah, I used to like going to Gatwick. It was always easier, a little bit smaller. But to shut down an airport that size, I mean, just to put it like a B&A is great, but B&A is like a tenth of the size of Heathrow.
I was getting ready to say it'd probably maybe take up just a little corner of Heathrow.
Yeah, it is. Heathrow's like the size of downtown. I mean, you've got so many runways. And the thing is, and it's also very spread out, but it has done so much damage, that explosion, that it killed a bunch of power around around Heathrow,
right,
on homes. But the amount of planes, I think it's one of the top 3 or 4 busiest in the world. And I was seeing that a plane from New York was 90-some minutes away.
Oh.
And they said, you guys got to go back.
Oh, man.
And everybody's like, how can they do that? Well, because they don't have a choice.
Right.
They don't have
lights.
Yeah, they don't have anywhere to run. They have no other place where they're allowed to land. They don't have anything else. If it was an emergency, that's one thing. If they have enough fuel, which they did, they had to turn around and head back.
Right.
Hey, folks, we know that we promised to get you to London, but you'll notice outside it looks eerily similar to the place we just were because we're there.
How about another Sprite and some peanuts?
Oh, good God. What a nightmare that is.
I tell you, dude, what's going on in the aviation industry right now is remarkable. If it's not one thing, it's another, dude. If it's not an issue with the plane, now we've got complete power outages affecting the biggest airports in the world.
Yeah. I mean, I saw today Russian sabotage. I'm like, no, I think what I heard on when I was watching Sky and I was listening to Capital FM in London is they believe it was somebody was smoking and there was a bunch of stuff around there and it just led to a calamity of errors.
Yeah.
A domino effect.
Yeah, like it's like somebody was smoking around a bunch of paper.
Yeah. Like the worst thing you could do in that situation, like paint thinner.
Yeah. You toss a lit cigarette into a puddle of gasoline.
God, it was and seeing some of because the beauty of today's world is we have cameras everywhere. Somebody was filming, and then then they've got 12 different like CCTV cameras, and the explosion, then the double explosion. Ooh. So if you were thinking, hey, we're flying to London tonight, yeah, maybe not.
Yeah, about an hour ago, Heathrow said that we are going to resume some flights today, but it does not say
what time. They were supposed to start it, as they said, at 23:59, but that was going to be very minimal at best because they think they may only be able to get 1 or 2 of the runways lit. But it's the domino effect. You and I both know, man, that domino effect. When we have bad weather here and you're flying from Texas catching and that plane never shows up because, well, the weather couldn't allow it, that thing leads to another.
Oh, it says 7 p.m. This is according to The Guardian. 28 minutes ago, Heathrow says long-haul flights will resume at 7 p.m.
Okay. Is that flying out of?
I don't know.
All right. Well, there you go then, everybody. If you're flying to London, you may have a chance.
Yeah, it looks like out.
All right. So we'll see. Well, yeah, I guess out's a lot easier than landing.
Yep.
Because you're already on the ground. Just go down this runway and just go up in the air. You'll be fine. A lot of stuff to get to today. We're going to talk a little bit about what's going on with the detention and flying people places. And was there a mistake? Was there not a mistake? Blah, 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 blah. The fight that's going on there. Tons of other wacky, fun stuff to get to. And yes, I'm going out there tomorrow to the Tesla dealership. I'm pumped about this. I'm super excited. So I don't know what time it starts. I'm going to get a double check on all that stuff. But I'm going to go out. I'm going to film. I'm going to do a bunch of interviews because I do want to talk to some of these people, like ones that aren't crazy and a little crazy ones. Sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be 2 kinds out. Well, 3. There's going to be observers.
Yes.
There's going to be the people who don't care to hear about any other thought. They are just there to be agitators.
Yes.
And then there are some who are serious.
Yeah. Some people who, in their minds, rightly or wrongly, have serious concerns about things. And you know what? You people will have different thoughts, and sometimes even they live in a fear cycle. And so we're going to have a lot of fun. So get ready for a fun show today. This is the Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7. All right, everybody. Bulwark Capital, my buddy, Zach Abraham, Chief Investment Officer at Bulwark, wants to talk to you about getting a second opinion on your investments and your retirement. Let me tell you, this guy is the man. He's who I trust implicitly with everything I do. And one of the things he and I were talking about is the fact that they're having a pretty good year over there, which makes me smile. But people only think, well, it's only one way you can go. There's only one thing you can do because, you just buy it, an ETF or this, that, and the other. It's not about that. He shows you there are so many other places and so many other ways in this industry to make money with investments that have just, it's something that most people don't think of. And that's why they do it different at Bulwark. I want you to call 866-779-RISK today. Set yourself up for a second opinion, right? It's a free risk review for your retirement, your investments. Let them take a look at what they're doing and vice versa. And they're going to show you, hey, you want to get where you're going? Let us do it. 866-779-RISK or go to knowyourriskradio.com, K-N-O-W, yourriskradio.com for your free second opinion from Bulwark Capital. Investment service advisor brought to you by Trek. I forgot about this. Oh, my Lord. This is how tired I am. I just went and got work done today, so I'm a little out of it, guys. Trek 24. You guys have no idea the wackiness I've been through today. Trek 245-25137.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
Boeing wins the $20 billion contract to build the Air Force's new fighter jet. President Trump doubling down on that federal judge who claims the Department of Justice is stonewalling his demands for answers about those deportation flights. That and more coming up at 12:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I propose, and would have already started, if your hypothesis is correct, a planned and orderly transfer back to the states and local communities of functions the federal government has usurped and which it has proven it is incapable of operating. And one of the first of those would be welfare. One of the second would be in the field of education. I would like to dissolve the $10 billion National Department of Education created by President Carter and turn schools back to the local school districts where we built the greatest public school system the world has ever seen. I think I can make a case that the decline in the quality of public education began when federal aid became federal interference.
That right there is Ronald Reagan. He knew. Look, it's about the states. It is about states' rights. It's about local. You know, for all the talk of the federal stuff, for all the talk of all the stuff that goes on, the reality is the community you live in will have a bigger impact on your day-to-day life than all of this other stuff, right? Whether it's the fight over, property rights or taxes for properties or, all the stuff we're seeing with schools or those things, pot for potholes. I mean, that's a big deal because we got a lot of potholes. I go through a lot of tires. I don't know why. I mean, I should go through a lot of tires in Arizona because it's 3,000 degrees all the time on the road. But those things matter. And returning things like education to the state is a smart thing to do. And it's not about, this weird world of, now that it's going back there, we're not going to be educated. That's just the silliest thing I've ever heard. It wasn't like we had the Department of Education in, say, 1790. Before that, it was just a free-for-all, right? But no. It came around during Carter's term. And since then, we have thrown tons of money and built a bureaucracy. But we haven't taken that money and built a better education system. We haven't. And we should, and we need to. We'll see. He can reorganize. Somebody said, well, if he reorganizes, can he make some of these people go and actually go work in the schools as like cleaners or stuff? Maybe. We'll find out how much they love their jobs. And we'll find out where their jobs are. Some of these jobs, they just end up getting, essentially they just fold into another agency. And some of them will lose their jobs. So we'll find out. A lot of stuff still squeezed into. I want to talk a little about deportations. A bunch of other good stuff as well. Got some of your text messages. We were talking about Stephen A. Smith earlier. It's a very interesting conversation. We'll talk about that as well. It is the Chad Benson Show. It's Super Talk 99.7.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast in 5 minutes. President Trump says Boeing has won a $20 billion contract to build the Air Force's new fighter jet, which Trump says our enemies will never see if they're ever needed.
It'll be known as the F-47. The generals picked a title, and it's a beautiful number, F-47.
The new jet is designed with the China threat in mind. President Trump doubling down on that federal judge, claiming the Department of Justice is stonewalling his demands for answers as to why deportation flights continued despite his verbal order to return them.
You can't stop that with a judge sitting behind a bench that has no idea what goes on, who happens to be a radical left lunatic.
And he insisted his administration can deport migrants without providing due process or evidence.
Well, that's what the law says, and that's what our country needs, because unfortunately, they allowed millions of people to come into our country.
As Stephen Portnoy says, the Trump administration beat that 10 a.m. deadline Judge James Boberg set today.
In a court filing, Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche confirms that he has been a part of ongoing conversations at the cabinet level about invoking the state secrets privilege, a legal way of keeping national security matters from the court. Judge James Boasberg has been seeking details about deportations under the Alien Enemies Act and the number of people who may be subject to them. Questions the administration has rebuffed or refused to answer.
Well, the first arrests have been made in cases of vandalism targeting Tesla dealerships and charging stations, says Aaron Katursky.
3 people face arson and destruction charges for throwing Molotov cocktails at Tesla products in 3 states. Elon Musk says this is psycho, and he says he's ramping up security. There has been an uptick in threats since Musk began leading Trump's effort to drastically shrink the federal government. There's no let-up by protesters. A group calling itself Tesla Takedown is aiming to demonstrate next week at showrooms across the country.
Yeah, those demonstrations have already begun. The group's website says they'll be out at the Tesla showroom in Chattanooga today, Franklin and Memphis and Knoxville tomorrow. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
You hear that? Rain is a-coming. What's going on with your basement? What's going on with your foundation? Do you know what's happening with some of those cracks? Do you have wood rot, mold? You don't want any of that stuff. USS is there to help. First of all, they're going to come out absolutely free inspection. Secondly, they're not going to sell you anything unnecessary. So maybe you've got issues. You've got some visible cracks in the basement, right? Yeah, can they be sealed? Do you need them sealed? Is there stuff that's gone on that's damaged, or do you need to get this thing taken care of? Your slope, does water, route and flow away at your home, when things go south? And your sump pump, you got all of this stuff, with your foundation. Is it ready? Because, we're going to get a lot more rain. So USS is there to help. I want you to do this. Call this number, 615-488-7855. 615-488-7855. Don't let something small become something big. They're the best around. You're going to be treated. You get the gold glove, super amazing treatment with USS. So take this number down again, 615-488-7855, and check everything out they do online. 30 years, 30,000 happy customers, USSTN.com.
For many of us, generators are becoming a must-have household appliance. From unpredictable weather to surprise outages, it's better to be safe than sorry. Generator Supercenter of Nashville offers fast and easy installations with 24/7 service and monitoring to all brands of generators and expert repairs done right. Our mission is to make owning a backup generator simple and easy. Visit your local store today or check us out online. Generator Supercenter of Nashville. We serve all Middle Tennessee.
That's Ronald Reagan. Several people go, who was that talking? It was Ronald Reagan. That's who that was, talking about Department of Education.
He is so good at talking. Like, I can literally listen to his speeches.
He was brilliant. Well, that was, you know what? Much like Trump, he was a show business. You forget. You probably don't remember.
I wonder what Reagan thinks of beautiful numbers.
That was so weird.
40
is a great number. It's one of the best. It's right after 39 and just before 40, which is fantastic. It's it's the best number.
It's a number the likes of which nobody's ever seen.
It's just like, well, like what? The generals, they picked it out. Did they?
The curvature of the number, beautiful, gorgeous.
Like, what does that have to do with anything? No, it's the number. It's great. It's fantastic. The Chinese will never see it coming. It's because they can't see 40. That's why we picked that one.
They can see 39, but not 40. 40 is the limit.
It's over.
They can't even count to 40.
It's like so bizarre.
We have lost the plot.
I'm like, what are you talking about? What's the, what was the, I'm like, it's the F-40. They picked F.
It's a beautiful letter.
Because it's right there in the alphabet.
So beautiful. Even Jeff Malinoff has 4 of them in his name.
That's right.
That's how gorgeous it is.
Just fantastic.
Yeah.
You're going to love the word F for fun. Like he's count. Remember it was a count. Was it Countula or whatever it was in Sesame Street? The count?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. 1, 2,
Yeah,
2.
I forgot about him.
F is for 4.
3 4s.
It was purple.
That's Trump. Trump. So F is great. You love it. Enjoy it. So I'm excited about how much was it? $26 gazillion?
$20 billion, but some experts are weighing in saying that's actually just going to be the start.
You know, well, yeah, because what's that other one, right? The Raptor. Right?
Yeah.
Isn't it like $1 billion a plane?
Yeah, the Raptor is under construction, and then there is a new bomber.
Yes.
The B-21 aircraft. That now that's going to cost at least $130 billion.
Yeah. If we know anything about government, they like to spend. And they like to spend more. And they like to take it and say it's going to be $8 billion.
Yeah.
And then you're like, it was wrong. I was off a little bit. How much? I need another $460 billion. That wasn't wrong. You were like super wrong. So I want to see what is it? It's probably $20 billion for the development of it.
Yeah. It's $20 billion is what one expert said. That's the seed money. The rest, there will be more to come. Total cost coming down the road will be hundreds of billions of dollars, according to Dan Grazier, a military procurement analyst who spoke with the Associated Press.
That's a lot, man. Got the money. We talk about waste, right? Let's just get it done. Let's see what it's like.
I like how Trump says, we've been flying this thing around for about 5 years now secretly.
Well, then it's already paid for and done. You know, because some of them, it's interesting when you find out how they do contracts. Some of it is you go to them and say, I've got this idea. This is what it's going to look like. And they'll seed the money. Mm-hmm. Some of it is you build these things and say, what do you think of this? This is what we want to do with it. And it's going to cost you this. And they say, all right, we'll do it. And then we go and sell all of our old stuff to other nations.
Yeah. I've got a cut from him where he said, we're going to sell it to our allies too. However, we're going to, it's only going to be about 10%. Because he said, one of they may not be our allies someday.
It's very interesting. I was watching a person talk about like how we sell stuff to we change all of our stuff up. We don't give them everything.
Right.
But Israel knows everything. And when we give them and sell them stuff and they say, whoa. This F-34 is an I. You guys have the other one. We want that one. And we're like, nah. You're not getting the whole thing, man.
Exactly.
First of all, how do you guys know that? Well, because we spy on you. That's what friends do. I'm trying to find out what time this thing is tomorrow. What time it starts.
I believe Chris Hand has the flyer on his X.
I think it says 1 p.m. So here's the social media post. Indivisible,
Tennessee.
Yeah. So So I think it's. I just
1 p.m. local time. It says.
Okay. So I should get there.
Yeah.
Tesla takedown in Chattanooga.
So
can't get up too early for those unemployed people.
Well, no. I mean, they're busy, and you got to bus them in.
Yeah. Let's see. They're going to be in Knoxville, Chattanooga, Franklin.
I was there today. I was in Franklin today, and over seeing our buddies over at Contours. I went and did the thing where, the red light. Oh, it's so cool. You do the red light, and you're like, and you lose inches. Oh, I lost 4 inches. I was like, what?
I like that.
My shirt feels. Oh, dude, it is the most incredible thing, and it feels so relaxing, good. But I was asking Keith, the owner. I said, "So where is the Tesla from here?" He goes, "Oh, it's just up the street." Because when I drove by, so we went out to King's the other night and had a really cool event out there, and you guys should come out. And there was a sports station was out there, but we were all out there. And when we were driving back, the mall, my wife goes, look at all those Tesla trucks. And I said, why is it? And I guess they've moved some of them there kind of to protect him. So, because they had a bunch of people out and around him. I'm telling you, man, something's going to happen that is going to be sad because somebody is going to, first of all, there's going to be somebody who wants something, like my little brother, who wants something to happen.
Oh, yes.
And then there's going to be somebody who thinks they're going to be all that in a bag of chips, and they're going to run up against somebody who is waiting for that moment.
Right.
And it's going to end poorly.
Very well could.
You know, I mean, because there is there's a thing called, I think it's called Tesla Quest or something like that. It has every name of every owner of a Tesla and their address. Essentially, they're doxing them. And they've been putting it out there, which is horrible because it's not like, doxing's bad already. If you guys know what that is, essentially that's you're spreading out everybody's information to the world. Here's they are, here's where they live. But you're doing this because you want to go harass people. And that right there to me is sickening because you're going to have an issue where, like I said, you're going to show up at somebody's house and you're going to think you're out there doing the right thing and you're complaining because Elon Musk is evil and blah, 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 blah. And what's going to happen? You're going to pay the price for it.
So earlier this morning, Libs at TikTok posted someone in Seattle was driving their Tesla and this lunatic cuts them off in the middle of the road and confronts them in the middle of the road saying sell your Nazi car. It's now you're going to kill someone if you do that.
Yeah, well, exactly. Or that guy's going to get out thinking he's all that, and some dude's going to get out and go bang, bang.
Yeah, because that's self-defense.
Well,
because
totally.
He doesn't know what that guy's going to do.
No. And these people are idiots, too. They don't realize these cars have cameras all over these things.
For good reason.
Yeah, for a reason. So when you see people come up and spit on them and do all kinds of horrible, you're an idiot. You're an absolute idiot. And the three that they caught, those people, as Aaron Katursky was explaining there, Ken, one of those guys, they have Molotov cocktails. Mm-hmm. One guy had a manifesto, and the other guy had high-powered rifle and ammo.
Yeah.
This is not, I'm going to go stand in front and do my first, have my First Amendment right to protest this and say, hey, you know what? I think Elon's bad. Because you know what? Do that. Knock yourself out. I got no problem with that. That's the beauty of our country is our First Amendment right. When Bud Light did what they did, people spoke up. And you know what? They didn't go and spit on the Bud Light guy. They didn't go tell everybody, hey, we know you drink Bud Light. We're coming to your house and you better stop it or else. They didn't do any of that stuff. They said, hey, we're not going to drink it. We don't think you fit our values. And in that, this is something different. Mm-hmm. And you've crossed the line. And yes, I know that Kid Rock shot a whole bunch of the beers.
It's a little different.
But he bought the beers and it was in his backyard. He wasn't shooting. He wasn't telling. He told people, F you, Bud Light, and blah, blah, and Anheuser-Busch. And then, of course, he sold it in his bar.
Yeah.
There was always, I saw him on Rogan. He's like, oh, yeah, that's long gone. I don't care about that. So much of it's theatrics.
So he has a place down in where my parents live at. And
okay, settle down with your braggadociousness.
I'm using this as an example. He is one of the nicest, humblest people you would ever meet. Just one brief interaction, he's just humble.
He is he's a good dude. Yeah. Didn't he help design? That's his whole thing with that golf course, right? He wants it to be kind of
him and Luke Bryan helped design it.
Have you met Luke?
I actually have.
There we go. See what I'm saying here?
My dad and I golfed right behind him, and he just people were going slow, and he just drove up to us and hey, sorry, these guys are slow in front of us. He was golfing with his son. His son's a great golfer. And just leaned on, just super casual guy, didn't think much of it, just super friendly.
All right, well, there you go. See, look at that. Yeah. So, well, I bet if they drive Tesla, that's those Tesla trucks, though, they're a trip.
They look cool. I got them because they
seem to be the ones that most people are pissed at.
Well, for whatever reason. They stand out the most.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only reason. You can tell that's a Tesla car from a mile out.
I saw a lady the other day, who went and keyed a car, and she thought it was a Tesla, and it was a Rivian.
She thought it was?
It was a Rivian.
That's funny.
I'm like, oh, you people are idiots. People walking across the street to spit on something. Oh, jeez.
What kind of ego do you have in yourself that you think you're so above these other people that you can do that? Like, that's the mindset in my mind. Like, what's the mindset of like, I can do this because they're the bad ones?
I have no. There's moral mountain that they get. They're on right on their high horse on the moral mountain that they somehow think that they're doing something, and what it is part of it's desperation because they feel like they've got no control. Democrats have no power. They feel like they can't stop anything. Their only hope is the courts. Elon is doing stuff, and they're being told in their bubble, right? And everybody lives in some sort of bubble anymore, and that's a sad thing. That inside of that bubble of crazy liberal progressive wackiness, that all these horrible things are going on because those people are selling fear because it gets them clicks, likes, and views, and then people feel desperate and they do stupid things because they have no other power.
Yeah, and Keith in the text line saying, "Yeah, but we the Bud Light thing, like we didn't set fire to a Budweiser plant."
No, you didn't.
Which is exactly what the Democrats did with a Tesla store. You lit it on fire.
Yeah. And by the way, you're not only putting people at risk. This is a place that employs many, many people, right, across the country, including places like Fremont and several other places where they employ people where they're giving them, like men of valor, second chances. People have been in prison, and you seem to be fine with those people paying the price potentially for, maybe losing their jobs because you're desperate. You have nothing. And you feel like things are out of control. So it'll be interesting to see, like Ken said, there's going to be a bunch of people there tomorrow. You're going to have the looky-loos. You're going to have people that are probably going to come and protest against the protesters. But you're also going to have some wackadoos because you get wackadoos everywhere. And there's always somebody who wants to free Myanmar or Burma or whatever it's called this week. Always.
Yeah, it'll always be Burma to me.
Oh, my goodness. So much fun here on a Friday. A lot of stuff still to squeeze into this hour. Got Ken's news coming up here as well. If you're missing the show, we say shame on you. Grab the podcast. It is the Chad Benson Show. So we talk 99.7. Rough Greens, ruffgreens.com. Vitamins, minerals, probiotics, omega-3, 6, 9, all of this incredible stuff packed into an amazing supplement that you give your dog on a daily basis. Right now, you can get a Jumpstart trial bag of Rough Greens for free. It's a $20 value. All they ask you to do is cover the cost of shipping and take the 90-day challenge. Now, the 90-day challenge, first 30 days, what you're going to notice is the energy level of your dog and how shiny the coat is. By day 60, immune system's improve, coat is fuller without shedding, and you'll notice their mobility. Because of their aches and the pains in their joints are going to start to dissipate because of the live nutrients and enzymes you've added to their food. And then by day 90, heart health's improved, their immune system's through the roof, their energy level, it's incredible. Try a Jumpstart trial bag of Rough Greens for free today. Take the 90-day challenge with them. Use my code CHAD. Watch what happens. You're going to love what it does for them. They're going to love the taste. Go to roughgreens.com. Use code CHAD. Roughgreens.com, code CHAD.
Boeing gets the contract to build the next generation Air Force fighter jet, and a former Tennessee nurse convicted in the death of a patient for the wrong medication has tried but failed to get her license renewed. All this and more coming up at 1 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
This one's for you, Ken. Here we go.
People keep correcting me, telling me that it's Cybertruck and not Tesla truck. I don't care. I don't care what it's called. I hate them. I hate them. I need them off the streets. I need them off the road. I need them off the highway. I need them out of my town. I need them out of my country. I'm so sick of them. I'm so sick of Tesla trucks. Cybertrucks.
Your country, for the record. Her country. We live in her country.
Yeah. She's. Thank you for letting us live here. Appreciate that.
But see, this is some of that wackiness that's out there, man.
Yeah. That person is. That is all emotion.
Absolutely.
If you asked her, what exactly is it that makes you so uncomfortable? Well, it's oligarchy. Okay, do you even know what that means?
Exactly.
No, you don't, because you're living in this emotional phase because you're being told that all these bad things are going to happen. Yet, while you're being told all that, nothing's changed. Your life hasn't changed since Trump became president. Nothing's happened with Doge. I mean, you guys do realize that. I mean, USAID's back, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
All the stuff they're doing, and so much of it was about, yes, getting it to the Supreme Court, but it was also about exposing the bureaucracy, exposing all this stuff. But you're being told this, and as a young person, and even at times as an old person, right? When life changes and you feel you have nothing that you can do to stop what's coming, it freaks you out. And this is all emotion. And it's I bet you tomorrow, low T and a lot of young women. I should probably bring, oh, God, you know what I'm going to do? Go to the pound today, get as many cats as possible. I'll be able to sell the hell out of those. It's the J.D. Vance cat fire sale going on at Tesla.
You're a genius.
How'd you make so much money? In cats.
I just held a single cat lady event, and I just sold like $30 million worth of cats.
Oh, goodness.
I got them for 5 cents a piece. Made a profit.
Somebody said, do we know what's going on on Old Hickory Boulevard down in Brentwood?
Let's check here.
A lot of police presence, said
what
somebody.
we got here.
So
I'm not seeing anything traffic-wise.
So, I don't know. Are people, you never know.
Keep an eye on it. Where's it at, they say?
Old Hickory Boulevard? Brentwood?
In Brentwood. Okay.
That's near my old apartment. So
they say it's a police procession. Somebody must have.
It may be that.
Is it the funeral?
Yeah, maybe the funeral for that Metro Police captain.
Okay.
That could be.
That could be it. So there you go. Tell you what, tomorrow it's going to be interesting. I'm interested to see what it's like out there. Because, like I said, I think you're going to get some people out there that are also going to be pro Tesla, but you're going to get a lot of looky-loos too. And yeah, you're going to get some people that may be a little unhinged. And I hope for a little bit of all three of those. Because you know what? If I'm going to drive out there, I want to be at least entertained at some point in time. It's the Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7.
One o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We have a level 1 out of 5 risk for severe weather the second half of this weekend. We'll tell you about it during the full forecast in 5 minutes. Boeing has won a $20 billion contract to build the next Air Force fighter jet. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth was with President Trump, who announced it from the Oval Office this morning. Here's Hegseth.
We've had the F-15, we have had the F-16, the F-18, the F-22, the F-35. Now we have the F-47, which sends a very direct, clear message to our allies that we're not going anywhere, and to our enemies that we will be able to project power around the globe unimpeded for generations to come.
Yeah, the Pentagon says this F-47 will have stealth and penetration capabilities that far exceed those of its current fleet and is essential in a potential conflict with China. President Trump doubling down on the federal judge who claims the Department of Justice is stonewalling his demands for answers as to why deportation flights continued despite his verbal order to return them?
President Trump says he believes he has the authority to deport individuals without showing evidence against them to a court. The president telling me in the Oval Office Friday.
Well, that's what the law says, and that's what our country needs, because we were, unfortunately, they allowed millions of people to come into our country.
The president kept up his attacks on the federal judge overseeing this case.
You can't stop that with a judge sitting behind a bench that has no idea what goes on, who happens to be a radical left lunatic.
Denmark telling transgender people hoping to travel to the U.S. to contact the U.S. Embassy in Copenhagen before going. This amid concerns President Trump's gender policies could cause problems with their travel documents. The announcement comes after Trump issued an executive order that the U.S. only recognizes two sexes, male and female. Last week, Finland issued a similar warning to travelers. Here in Tennessee, a former Tennessee nurse who faced trial related to giving a patient the wrong medication ending in death won't be practicing anytime soon. News 2 says the Tennessee Court of Appeals says Redonda Vaught's nursing license will remain revoked in the volunteer state. Vaught was convicted of criminally negligent homicide and abuse of an impaired adult in the 2017 death of 75-year-old Charlene Murphy and ultimately sentenced to 3 years of supervised probation. A firearms manufacturer making an $80 million investment in Rutherford County, creating about 200 new jobs. Barrett Firearms will house its global manufacturing site at the campus off Manchester Pike. The company plans a 250,000 square foot facility. Its parent company, NIOA Group of Australia, intends to locate its headquarters at that facility, too. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
So the transgender people have been told, be careful. What do they think's going to happen? You guys going to try to join a sports league when you're here?
Yeah, like they're not going to be let in the country.
It's not true. None of that is true. oh, well, we were coming over here because I really wanted to play, women's volleyball, even though I'm a man, but I'm also a woman. Like, what is, I have no idea. That's right. And they're like, there's only 2 genders. Oh, okay. Well, do other places have several genders?
They're gonna.
I don't know if they do. I think it's
like make it a legislature or some.
Well, but
there's some crazy countries out there.
Yeah, well, there is. But I mean, I don't think isn't the whole, and this is the other thing. And I've got a couple friends who are trans. Love them to death. They're great. By the way, they waited till they were way older, and they're both anti doing anything to kids, period. In fact, one of them says you should be 25 before you even think about it. Even though you want to live that way and all that stuff. But they always laugh and they say, I don't get all this other wacky pick 12 different genders, because isn't the goal of being transgender to move to another gender, not just be kind of question mark?
So before I got this job, when I was applying...
You were trans?
No. But I remember when I was applying to jobs and stuff, you always had to do those like legal things like, are you a U.S. citizen? If you're a man or woman, what's your race? Blah, 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 because of inclusivity, of course. One of them, I already knew I didn't want to apply because they offered me like 18 different pronouns. Like, I'm not even kidding. Because you had to put in your pronoun to go for the job. And I swear I saw zers, I saw x's, I saw like 49ers, I saw... No, I'm kidding, no. But like it got ridiculous to a point where I just like I didn't apply.
Yeah. And it's funny because when you talk to hiring managers, one of the things they say is the minute they see your pronouns, it's like right into to the wastebasket, because they know you're going to be a problem.
Yeah. I legit think me putting myself as a white male hurts my chances of getting jobs. I'm not even kidding.
Well, what would you like to be?
Well,
what would you like to identify as? For this job? Native American.
Maybe. But, it's just ridiculous that I honestly think that because so many companies want diversity regardless of effort, regardless of work ethic.
Yeah, well, again, and in a situation like that where it's not fair for the people that you would hire just based on their color because you want to check a box. That is not giving people an opportunity. That's doing something to make you feel better. I was watching a guy last night, this comic. I'll see if I can find it, but he was talking about he's black. He goes, I didn't realize I was oppressed until I got basic cable and somebody on CNN, and luckily it was a white woman who told me that I was oppressed. And I think, yeah. It's crazy. So you don't see, you know what I love too? It's like, I don't see color. Yeah, you do. Unless you're colorblind, you absolutely, and you should. We're all different. That's like saying, I don't see tall people or fat people or whatever. That's just silly. It's not about color. It's about the things that bind you together. And we have a real issue with that. Yesterday in my former home state of Arizona, there was a party of progressives.
This country faces enormous crises, and how we respond to these crises today will impact not only our lives, but the lives of our kids, future generations.
He's not as Bernie as he used to be.
He's not as Bernie as he used to be, man. He sounds a little tired.
He does. He sounds a little tired, walking around everywhere, doing all these things. But I'll tell you what, on stage, she was good.
We must get big money out of politics and make clear that our country is not for sale.
I got no problem with that. I would love to see big money out of politics.
It'll never happen.
It'll never happen. Because as she's saying that, and all of the people that, all these other people that work with her are like, yeah, that sounds great. All of the other people who are in Congress on both sides of the aisle are like, yeah, that absolutely sounds great. It'll never happen because that's how I get my job. Yeah. I can look and say, there are some people out there, whether you like them or not, like Thomas Massey. That guy, you know who he is. You know what he's about. Like, this is it. He's a fiscal hawk. Great. I love that. Some of these people out there, like Bernie, you don't have to like his politics, but he's been Bernie. And for that, I can respect. I can respect. Because so many of these people have sold their soul because they get out there, and I always equate, it's like, I think now you have professional politicians, right? Because when we were kids growing up, and I'm not talking about you, Jeff, because you always, I know nothing started before 1998 or whenever you were born.
1995,
Whatever.
Thank you.
But when we were growing up, Ken, it's like it was a duty, right? You didn't really you had a job and you kind of felt like maybe I'd like to do this. Now these people go to college specifically to become professional politicians and work in and around it, which is that's not really kind of what our founding fathers were hoping for. Like that's why DC's not it's not a state. It was meant to be. It was meant to be a business park. You come here, you do a little bit of work, and you go home. It wasn't meant to be what it's become. And it is what it is. It's now a giant, huge cesspool of, on K Street, that's where all the lobbyists are, who are there just, what can I buy? Who can I buy? How can I buy? What's it going to cost me to get this person or that person? How much do we have to give? And, you're there and your job is, especially in Congress. That's why Senate there's only 2 of them in each state. And that's why they have 6-year terms, because it's not so knee-jerk. You may be mad at a senator today for something, but they're going to be around for a little while. So they wanted them to have the opportunity not to be swayed. Where when you look at Congress, the minute they're elected, they're out raising money because they're already on the chopping block. That's why they gerrymander so much, so they can make sure that they have some form of protection.
Lying to and screwing over working people so that they can steal from our health care and Social Security and veterans care to pay for tax cuts for the wealthiest and bailouts for their crypto billionaire friends.
Woo!
There's a word for this: corruption.
Who got a bailout from crypto? Does anybody? I don't know. Who was it? I didn't know crypto. It's kind of.
I do not know.
I didn't know either. Because what's his name? Sam Bankman-Fried, but he's still in jail. And he gave a vast majority of money to the Democrats. They didn't bail him out. And that was really the only crypto scandal. There's been a few other ones, but I haven't really. I'm sure there's been some because I don't really follow crypto that much. It's like I've got some and I'll just let it sit there. That's it. That's all I. But she speaks, the middle class, our middle class, the top 1%. And this is where the Democrats go wrong. They believe that the top 1%, the people that are speaking, they're evil, they're bad, they're all these things. And that's not true. And they think that everybody else feels that way. And the odd thing is a lot of Democrats, they don't care that somebody's wealthy and successful. What they want is the opportunity to do that for themselves. And that's across the board, across ages, color of skin, who they worship, who they love, Republican, Democrat. They just would like that fair shot, feel like they have a fair shot. But as much as they sit there and go, we need to get money out of politics, here's the problem. Politics doesn't want money out of it. It could easily be done, right? We could give everybody a salary cap. Everybody's got a salary cap. This is all you're allowed to raise. And this is all you're allowed to get. And, you could, but then they're going to figure it out. Okay, well, we can do PACs now. So we'll do a PAC and we'll set it up. And then we're not going to really be involved with you, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. We're going to go out and blast your opponent. Even though we're, so I would love it if money was out of politics. Because like everything else, we'd find out who's interested in actually doing something. Who's here for the betterment of people. And, of course, the ever-popular term limits, which we rarely get any talk of that. Because nobody wants to ever kill the golden goose, and nobody ever wants to take away their opportunity to sit there and watch the golden goose for 5 decades. A lot of you chiming in about Elon Musk. We are going out there tomorrow. So everybody's like, you should set up a stand and ask people to come over and talk. We're going to do something. I'm figuring something out. Not quite sure exactly what we're going to do, but I do want to talk to people. And I know yesterday I got several people who chimed in and said, why would you want to talk to some of these people? And I said, it's simple. Because you can't learn what people, what the other side or whatever you want to call it is, if you don't have a conversation with somebody. You've got to be able to, because first of all, they may not know. I always want to know, where are you coming from? Like, what are you hearing? And maybe they've got stuff I've never heard of. I didn't even know that. And at the same time, there's probably a lot of things that they think is going on that they've never heard, because they're also in that situation where they've gone down their rabbit holes. They're on their blue anon world, and they're living in it. And they say things like, they repeat the same thing: fascist, coup, all of that stuff. And yet, rarely do they even have any way to prove any of the stuff they think about.
Okay, so why should we be wrestling on Musk?
Well, he's a bald-faced criminal. If you or I had walked into the White House and done what he'd done, or walked into the Treasury and done that, we'd be in jail. He essentially organized a fascist coup of our federal government. He spent $250 million to get Trump into office, and now Trump is serving as his proxy, his puppet.
No. And by the way, none of that's fascist. I mean, you can say what you want about him spending money, but until we get money out of politics, it's allowed. And if you go and look and see what, somebody like Zuckerberg did against Trump in 2020 and the amount of money, he spent some $300 million. And there's so many people that spend a ton of money on stuff. I don't like it. Not that I want signs all over in people's front yards, because that drives me crazy too. But let's, these are where we have real conversations, because I want the middle class to explode. I want it to get back to where it was, and we're going to do that through technology. We're not going to do that through manufacturing. We're going to do that through, and the manufacturing may be parts of technology, but you want to see that. I want to see more affordability, and people have opportunities to be mobile and to move and to grow. But he's a fascist. And why is he a fascist? Because he went in and did stuff. Well, what did he do? See, that's what you ask him. What did he do? Well, he went in and got access and information. Do you think he's stealing everybody's information? By the way, your information's available. Whether you want to believe it or not, they get breached all the time. How many times do we hear about, we forgot to tell you 6 months ago, 50 million people's identities got taken? I mean, my God, they've got that website that has all of the Tesla owners across the country. And you can go find out where they live, what kind of Tesla they have. So it's not as hard as you think. The dark web has everything you want too. Because trust me, if you were part of one breach, you're part of another. And I have no idea that's what I asked somebody today. What do you think's going to happen? Well, he's going to take my identity kind of thought. I don't get that. Like, do you think he's just going to set up a big email thing and send people emails for coupons for stuff that he wants you to do? Like, all right, guys, I got a bunch of coupons here. I want you guys to buy from me. Not sure. 3-2. I want you to reach out to me, and I love hearing from all of you. And you can tweet at me at Chad Benson Show. And you can also check out our YouTube, our Twitch, our Twitter, and Facebook. Right, Jeff? I always have to ask.
Almost Rumble too.
Almost Rumble. And by the way, somebody sent me a picture yesterday. I do have a Rumble account. I have 10 followers. I didn't even know it.
Nice.
There you go. And considering, you know what? I think I have 100 and some followers on Blue Sky. I've never
You're on
posted
Blue
anything.
Sky?
I just did to see what it looked
Out of
like.
curiosity.
You know what it looks like? It looked like Twitter. I think Twitter's 17 years old today.
Happy birthday, X.
Happy birthday, X. It's the Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7. Rough Greens. The challenge is going on. 90 days to a new dog. Well, that's what it would be like if you tried Rough Greens for your pooch. Rough Greens has vitamins, minerals, probiotics, omega 3, 6, 9, all this incredible stuff that is one scoop away from helping your dog in ways you cannot believe. You just give it to him daily. Right now, I want you to try a Jumpstart trial bag for free. It's $20 value. It's not going to cost you anything but shipping. It's just a few bucks. And watch what happens. We had somebody contact us here the other day, said, you know what? It's been just over 30 days, and at first I didn't think it was going to work, and it's changed our dog. I get so many of those every day. And I tell you guys, my little dog, Doodle, who passed away last year, we thought about putting him to sleep about 6 years ago. And because he was in such bad pain with his hips and stuff. After about 2 or 3 months of giving him Rough Greens, his life was completely different, and he lived the best little second part of his life, and it was awesome. Try a Jumpstart trial bag of Rough Greens. Take the 90-day challenge now. Go to roughgreens.com. Use code CHAD. Get a free Jumpstart trial bag, $20 value free. Cover the cost of shipping. Roughgreens.com, code CHAD.
We'll tell you about the new fighter jet. Boeing has been awarded a $20 billion contract to build. That and more at 1:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Here's good news if you're a little bit older, Ken, so let's you and I pay attention to this.
All right.
Goodbye midlife crisis. The law of happiness isn't U-shaped anymore. So what they're saying is young kids, more miserable, more stressed out. As you get older, people have got smiles on their faces. And we're happier. Which you would think, what? No way. Yeah.
I agree.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm way happier than I was when I was younger. Because when I was younger, you're trying to figure out your life. You're doing all those kind of things. And youth is is on youth. But this is very interesting. They looked at all of these groups of people. But how the young have changed is they just don't think they can afford life. And,
right.
And they're hearing that they're going to be the worst generation as far as they're not going to live better than their parents. But that's because their parents bought their $4 million home for a couple apples.
Yeah. Yeah, bought a home for about $100,000 that is now worth $1 million.
Yeah. And they can't afford that. Which is crazy, dude. Some of these houses, I mean.
Dude, in my neighborhood, there are houses that they have just built that are going for at least $500,000. They're nowhere near worth that much.
No. I was When we were kids, right? So, like, you watch Ricky Schroeder on Silver Spoons. And you're like, oh, my God, that's like, it's probably $1 million home. That's amazing. That house would be worth $50 million today.
Yeah.
Because you think when you're a kid, I want to own $1 million home. Now, it's like $1 million home?
That's like 3 bedrooms and 1.5 baths.
That's right. Yeah. Not on an acreage. You don't have a racetrack in the back or a tennis court.
No.
I dated this girl once, and they lived in Long Beach, was where I'm from, and they lived in this very posh area. These houses are incredible. And I think, at the time, they bought their house for like about $1 million. And it had a tennis court and a basketball court. It had a elevator and a wine cellar.
Nice.
It's like a $12.5 million home now.
Oh, yeah.
So, and you look and you're just like, oh, it's crazy. And so now as you get older, your life is, because you're living longer, but on top of that, you're living healthier too, which is, it's not like, because I see people, like, you ever go back and like go, how old was Red Fox when he was on, like when he was on Sanford and Son? You're like, oh my God, I'm older than the Golden Girls.
Oh, how old was he?
He was in his 40s.
I think you're right.
His late 40s, early 50s.
All those people look like they were in their 70s.
They all did. And now you look at people who are in their, 70s, a lot of them, and you're like, man, that person's doing all right. They're still working. They're still got a smile on their face.
I got to see here.
Yeah, Red Fox. You're like, oh, my God.
Here he is. How old was Red Fox? He was 48.
48.
Looked like he was in his 60s.
Yeah. He looked like he was near death.
Yes.
He did. He looked like, and like Lamont, when you look back, like Lamont, he would have had to have Lamont when he was 12.
Yeah, that's right.
Like the Golden Girls, when you find out you're older than the Golden Girls, you're like, oh, my God.
Yeah. Yeah, that does sink in.
It does. It sinks in. But then you look at them and you think, my God, everybody back then. You watch those old, Western shows. There's never an old person. There's one guy. Oh, here comes Curly Jim.
Here comes old Curly.
Curly's been born. I'm 62 years old.
Gabby Hayes.
So getting older has become way easier. Mental health is another big thing. The younger generation, especially amongst anyone, females, 46% of females say they have declining mental health. That's why they need cats. I'm going to see a bunch of that tomorrow, I bet. Longer lives and healthier lives are a big deal. So if you're getting a little bit older and you get worried about it, you think to yourself, hey, you know what? I might have some decent time left and I'm doing okay, which is a bonus.
I'm all about a longer life as long as it's
healthier life.
Healthier life.
Yeah, which is I think we're going to get, because now with AI, I think this is going to push us in a leap forward in a way we've never seen. Because what 100 scientists can do in a year, AI can do in a night. So think about that. Working 24/7 in multiple areas and dimensions that you can never think. We can't even positively in our minds grasp. Like when we talked about how AI did that math problem that no one could solve, and it did it in 5 minutes, and the math that it had on our world, in our dimension, it didn't have, so it went to another dimension to get it. That's what's crazy. So imagine that.
Man.
It's going to be awesome until they decide to suck all of our blood.
By the way, these new fighter jets are going to be AI.
You know what? When we come back, I want to talk about that because there is a great documentary out about AI in the military, and they had the best 2 fighter jets America has, and what they said about it is fascinating. We'll talk about that. A lot of other stuff still to get to, some of that deportation stuff as well. Deportations, the fight that is going on. Speaking of AI, deportations, Trump versus the judge. Oh, we'll talk about that straight ahead. Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7.
$1:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We are tracking the potential for severe weather the second half of this weekend. It's on the low level, lowest of the low, level 1 out of 5 risk. Full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Boeing has been awarded a $20 billion contract to build a new Air Force fighter jet as part of what the Pentagon is calling the next generation of air dominance. President Trump says this new fighter jet, to be known as the F-47, is something our enemies won't see and our allies want to buy.
Our allies are calling constantly. They want to buy them also, and certain allies will be selling them, perhaps toned-down versions. We like to tone them down about 10%, which probably makes sense because someday maybe they're not our allies, right?
The Pentagon says they'll have stealth and penetration capabilities that far exceed those of its current fleet and is essential in a potential conflict with China. Trump provided a few more details about dismantling the Department of Education, saying student loans will be handled by the Small Business Administration, while Health and Human Services will handle special needs and nutritional programs. He did not say whether they would get additional funding.
All we have to do is get the students to get guidance from the people that love them and cherish them, including their parents, by the way, who will be totally involved in their education along with the boards.
And if you're keeping score, Lipscomb trailing Iowa State in the first round of the men's college basketball tournament. Memphis trails Colorado State. Vandy and Kentucky will be in action later today in the men's action. Women's action, Kentucky advances after beating Liberty by just 1 point, 79-78. Lady Vols, Tennessee Tech, Lady Commodores, and Louisville in action later today on the women's side. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Busy Bee. Busy Bee. You want to join the Beehive Club because first, after a couple inspections, you're good to go. That pays for the Beehive Club. Secondly, because everybody's going to have some sort of issue. Maybe your HVAC. We're getting towards that time where you've run the heater, but are you ready for, the air? Have you checked the ducts? Have Busy Bee come out and take a look. What about your plumbing, right? At some point in time, everybody has a little issues with their plumbing. Busy Bee is there to help. And we always go to the worst part. Oh, my God, I'm going to need a full repipe or I got to have my main line done. Let Busy Bee come out, right? Make you feel good. Take a look before you go and go, And being part of the club, get you to the front of the line, get you discounts as well. Join the Beehive Club. Tell them I sent you. And they're going to take care of you. They're amazing. So whether you've got your HVAC and you're worried about it, and you want to make sure that that thing's ready because summer gets here, right? Starts to get a little bit warmer. You want to make sure that it's ready to go. And, of course, always with your plumbing because of all the things you can do without, you can go a couple days without your HVAC and even some electricity. But that plumbing, you need it. Call Busy Bee today, 775-7833, 775-7833, or visit busybeehvac.com. If you guys are unaware, there is a move afoot to get rid of the Department of Education. And Randy Weingart out there talking up. She heads up the Department of Education, the unions, all of the unions, the teachers union. She's a lot of what drives the insanity comes from her and the like. She is, it's Mike Pompeo called her the most dangerous person in America. And as much as we talk about K through 12, remember how much of a massive influence they've had in college. And, of course, they're trying to figure out, what are we going to do? This has changed. Everything has changed.
Randy, I know we're talking about a couple of different things here, and it's great to have you with us. I wonder if there's a role that Congress plays in this as well. You have a legal path, and much of the check and balance we've seen against this administration over a course of issues. I could go through immigration, the DOGE cuts, and so forth. In this case, you're talking about student loans, but also the undoing of the Department of Education. Do you have the ear of Democrats on Capitol Hill who can make a difference, or have you already picked your course and that's the legal one?
No, look, and I laughed because I'm a lawyer and I'm a union activist, but I'm an AP Gov teacher. I'm a social studies teacher. So of course it's the Congress. They're the Article 1 branch of the Constitution. And they're the ones who are supposed to be doing it.
She's absolutely right. By the way, there's never been an agency that has ever been closed because of an executive order. It just can't happen. But this was a start of it. And he can reorganize. He can do several things when it comes to the Department of Education. But wiping these things out, if Congress had anything to do with them, he doesn't have the power to eliminate them. It doesn't work that way. And this is where Congress needs to step up and do their thing or stand up and say no. Do something. Let us know you're around.
You feel like breaking into Schoolhouse Rock with us right now, Randy?
Yeah, exactly. I'm just like, oh, my God, maybe I have to give this course in Congress. But, of course, they're the ones that's supposed to be doing it. And even the president's EO suggested that. And, this morning I was on a press conference with Catherine Clark, who is from Massachusetts, one of the leaders of the Democrats in the House of Representatives, and they're fighting it as well. This is the dilemma, and it really is a dilemma. And look, you said it in your last segment. The president's men are with the president's men, including all the people in Congress. And there's a point in time when you swear an oath to the Constitution, not to individual people who are president. And this really is in the Congress's arena, and they really should be dealing with this. But this is what I worry about. I just used the student debt example. You can eviscerate a department by laying off its people, by shutting down a web service or online service. And so what I don't want is I don't want it so shut down in so many ways that kids are really hurt. And then somebody says, oops, we didn't mean to do that. Kids go through kindergarten once. We already saw during COVID.
Which was all about you, because remember how many times you told us, we don't want these things closed, right? You said, I never advocated for that. You advocated for it all the time. You use COVID as a political way to get more power for the unions, to push and push and push over and over again. And I said, parents will not forgive you. That's why you're not seeing the outcry that you saw in other occasions when they tried to come for the Department of Education or said anything, because parents saw so much of what was happening.
The long-standing problems that happened when schools were shut down too long. We got to make sure we get this right for kids.
Well, Constitution, but it's like he can't undo it. This would not, and he knows it. By the way, he even said this is the start of it. Now, what will Congress do? And that's a very, and we've seen, look, there's one thing we've seen, and here is a perfect example, even with school choice. You get some rural areas, you get some certain thing, your constituents may not be as thrilled by some of this stuff. Now, you could get it through, Congress, but you're not getting 60 votes. This isn't going to happen. You're not going to get 60 votes in the Senate. So, but the effort has been made. And he can do other things, workarounds, move people to certain departments, move money around, and cut the red tape. And I think you're going to see a lot of that until it's push come to shove with Congress. And it's about time they do something. They do nothing. Not a thing at all. We were talking about, was it the F-40? Is that what it's called? Forget what it's called. The F-40.
F-47.
47. 47's a great number. It's just very 47-y. And it's all the AI stuff is crazy. So there is a movie out, documentary. It's called The Unknown Killer. And it's about all the robots and all the stuff they're working on that people aren't supposed to know. But it's behind the scenes. So they got the two best pilots that we have. Millions of dollars for training. The absolute two best, period, case closed. And they put them in dogfights with the AI. They won the first couple, and they never won again. And they said, I could never defeat that in battle. It would never happen. Because it learned everything it needed to from the first few times it fought. And then it had its own thing. This is where war is going. War is going to be more robots and less people. More drones and less people. Boots on the ground are going to come after so much stuff is going to be battled out. And the F-47, it's going to be great. It's better than the F-46, which we don't even have anymore. We got rid of it. It was obsolete. It's like a Pinto. And that's why these things cost so much. Because you're not only buying and developing an airplane that's going to do battle, it's coming with its own person inside of it, essentially. It is Transformers without transforming. And that's going to be crazy. And they showed some of the other robots. I'll tell you what, for all the other robots, and they got some wacky ones, some Judge Dredd looking stuff, and RoboCop, the dog robots are the ones that freak me out. Those things absolutely freak me out. They're crazy. And NVIDIA's new robot, because they decided, hey, we make chips and do all this stuff, we should have a robot. Have you seen NVIDIA's new robot? It is, it looks like something straight out of Star Wars. And it is crazy. It looks like WALL-E.
So it looks like R2-D2?
No, it looks like, remember WALL-E?
I know WALL-E.
Yeah,
but
it looks just like WALL-E is what it looks like.
Okay. When you said Star Wars, I'm thinking, okay, is this Rebels or the Emperor?
It'd be cool. It looks like C-3PO. That'd be good. It's all gold.
Isn't that the dream, though?
A gold robot?
Just like, no. See, your buddy, your own C-3PO. Everyone wants to be friends with C-3PO.
Why?
He's awesome. Don't hate on C-3PO.
I always thought he's the whiniest. I thought R2-D2 was kind of a little badass, right? He was willing to go into it.
Yeah,
and like C-3PO just whined the whole time. I wanted him to get killed so bad.
C-3PO, you're like, okay, come on, dude, let's go get a beer. Like, we got to talk this out. I want to be your friend. Because he feels like he's a good dude.
He's not a dude.
Okay, fine. He's a, wait, is it a...
He's not. He's a robot. First of all, he's not even real. But secondly...
He is real. Star Wars happened.
He's just, it's awful because he was the whole time he whined, right? I mean, can we be honest? If you're listening out there, yeah, feel free to chime in. He whined. C-3PO says, Joe says, Karen. Karen in space. Karen in space.
Pretty sure the Emperor was the Karen in space.
The Emperor was, which one?
You're telling me if you were like
I would rather hang out with Emperor Palpatine.
I'm saying if you cut a Karen off in like a grocery store, they wouldn't sound like Emperor Palpatine.
No, that'd be C-3PO.
I got to agree with this. Yeah, Karen would sound like C-3PO.
Oh, I can't believe
not
this
Palpatine.
Is happening. It's all whiny. Oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. He felt like.
Was he British? I guess he was kind of British.
And he has always had, like, I've got sand everywhere.
Wait, we know who the Karen is in Star Wars. It's Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, I look back on Star Wars, if we're honest with ourselves, they were just a bunch of rebel Antifas that were pissed off because the corporation had gotten stronger. The dark side was actually the better side.
They had a great economy.
Man, they had good suits, too.
They had a good economic plan.
They did.
And by the way, the rebels caused unemployment to just skyrocket.
Of course, because they're do-nothing lazies. I mean, he's living with his uncle, right, doing nothing.
To be fair, the rebels did cause the Death Star's unemployment rate to drop 0% because everyone died.
So...
They were a bunch of socialists.
They were. They were a bunch of hippie socialists running around.
You know what? Next time I watch it, I'm rooting for the Empire again.
I do.
I rooted for Darth Vader regardless because that's the best character ever.
It was a pretty good character. Although, I got to be honest, I enjoyed I liked Emperor Palpatine.
Good.
I thought he was cool.
Good.
Look at me. I mean, he was awesome.
I don't...
I can shoot stuff out my fingers. What is this?
Have you seen Star Wars?
No, but I'm just like the whole thing,
I know.
When, it's like Darth Maul. Like, that guy was cool.
I mean, he's a 7-foot tall guy that,
who did ninja
destroyed
stuff.
people.
I like the jug band in the bar.
Oh, they were great. Hey, you guys want to hear the same thing over and over again?
Yeah. Play that same song. All right, the same song. Let's go. They take requests, but it's only that song.
Jar Jar was a Democrat. We're getting a lot of that.
Jar Jar, no.
C-3PO was insufferable.
I don't agree. I'm sorry. I'm going to defend my boy C-3PO. Jar Jar Binks is Kamala Harris.
Jar Jar Binks, he caused all kinds
of... Same noises and everything.
Chaos when he came out.
Exactly.
Remember that?
That's Kamala Harris in a nutshell. No, the noises, the why are you here kind of vibe.
William Shatner was great in Star Wars, somebody said.
Oh, my gosh. Joe, don't. Come on, buddy.
Goodness. C-3PO had a gender reassignment. The Cantina Band. That's what they were called.
The Cantina Band, yeah.
So who would Jabba the Hutt be? Oh, Rob Reiner. Never mind. I already figured that out for myself.
Really?
Rob Reiner? Oh, he'd be perfect.
Jabba? I mean, he was a businessman. He was an entrepreneur. Wasn't he?
Yeah, but he would sound like him, and he's as big as him.
He was an entrepreneur. Jabba was.
I would rather hang out with Jabba than Rob Reiner anyways.
Who wouldn't? Jabba had a party, right? And the Cantina Band, you were right. Who wants to hear that song again?
Who wants some blue milk?
These are not the droids you're looking for. Shut up.
Such a good movie.
Oh, you're such a weirdo. Coming up.
I am.
Yeah, I know. A lot of stuff still to get to. We still haven't done any of the deportation stuff, which we should get to as well. Maybe some Finally Friday sounds. I got a good one this week. Maybe we'll do that next. Straight ahead, it is the Chad Benson Show. Super Talk 99.7. Omaha Steaks, absolutely incredible, super delicious. You will love them. 50% off right now, site-wide. So that's everything. But on top of that, when you use my code Benson and you check out, you get an extra $30 off at checkout. So you're saving huge amounts of money. Now, maybe you're like me. I want a variety of stuff, all right? I got some chicken, all right? I'm loving on that. Oh, my goodness, I got some fillets. Those are incredible. I got Polynesian pork chops. So I got a variety of stuff. They've got variety assortments ready. They've also got, you make your own. So maybe you only want fillets. Maybe you only want chicken breast. They've got it all. And yes, even surf and the turf as well. Go to omahasteaks.com, 100% unconditional money back guarantee. So that's bite for bite. Go to omahasteaks.com, 50% off right now, site-wide. Use my code Benson. You get an extra $30 at checkout. omahasteaks.com. Use code Benson.
For many of us, generators are becoming a must-have household appliance. From unpredictable weather to surprise outages, it's better to be safe than sorry. Generator Supercenter of Nashville offers fast and easy installations with 24/7 service and monitoring to all brands of generators and expert repairs done right. Our mission is to make owning a backup generator simple and easy. Visit your local store today or check us out online. Generator Supercenter of Nashville. We serve all Middle Tennessee.
A new Air Force fighter jet. New York Times doubling down on its Elon Musk being briefed on potential war with China story, and rising food prices aren't just affecting grocery shoppers. All this and more at 2 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
So they're doubling down, saying he's been briefed on the war with China.
Oh.
What?
That he was going to get a personal briefing.
Are we planning a war with China?
I don't know.
I mean, well, Trump did say that, the 47 greatest of all. They picked the name out of nowhere. I don't know how they did it.
And the generals wanted it that?
I didn't. I was like, no. Call it the F2 or the F-46. But no, they said 47. And he said, we're doing it kind of for China. So, well, are we going to war? No, we're not going to war with them. They couldn't handle us. Despite what everybody says when you hear people come on television and they say, well, our military's depleted. It's awful. It's not. We're the best fighting force in the world. We have the best stuff. You know why they say that? Because it's a way to go, hey, you know what, Pentagon? Go get us some more money. Go get us more money. Go get us more things. One of the things you're not talking about and any of these battle for the budgets, that's always is that line item that says $700 billion. You don't know what it's for. That's for DARPA. That's why. Oh, DARPA's cool. So you mean to tell me you guys have invented a bullet that flies around, zips around the corner, will basically look for the thing that it's, that you think it's supposed to get, can identify it and blow itself up when it needs to?
It goes back to the gun by itself.
Yes, it's great. Fantastic. China will never know it hits them. So, yeah, I'm not. When I hear, they're so far behind us militarily. They are, everybody thought they were going to catch us when it came to the economy. Nope, never happening. Then they thought, well, they're going to get us when it comes to military. It's not happening. It isn't. They know that. That's why it's never going to happen.
That's why Taiwan is still independent.
Yeah, because they know what would happen if they invaded Taiwan. I mean, the fact is, they may invade Taiwan, and to take the island, they'll have to destroy the island, even if we never got involved. And to destroy the island, well, why? Now what do you have?
Yeah, what was the use?
So now you have something that is completely destroyed. Now the world doesn't like you, and they're going to cut off the biggest thing that you need financially. They're going to move away from you as fast as possible. Stocks will crash, and your people will be back living like Mao was in charge.
And then they still have to deal with India.
Which in India is, by the way, for those of you who don't know, they're itching.
Yeah, India hates China.
Yeah, they fight all the time. My friend is from India, and he used to say having a Chinese person for a friend is like having a cobra for a belt. It's not a good idea. Now, that's not all Chinese people, but that was because he was straight from India, and they fight. By the way, they fight almost on a daily basis.
Daily basis. There's a border.
Yeah.
There's a border area where it's like, and it's like hand to hand.
Yeah.
Fist fighting.
It's crazy. So, they're not going to invade. They're not going to fight. They don't want any part of what the rest of the world will bring, including the collapse of their economy, because they can't afford it. It's the Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7.
Two o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast in 5 minutes. Tell you about the very low level risk of severe weather this weekend. President Trump just announced a $20 billion contract with Boeing to build the new Air Force fighter jet, which the Pentagon calls the next generation of air dominance. It was developed with the China threat in mind.
An experimental version of the plane has secretly been flying for almost 5 years, and we're confident that it massively overpowers the capabilities of any other nation. There's no other nation. We know every other plane. I've seen every one of them. And it's not even close. This is a next level.
Yeah, the Associated Press says renderings by Boeing of this new jet, dubbed the F-47, has it's a flat tailless aircraft with a sharp nose. President Trump and the Secretary of Defense deny report there were plans to provide Elon Musk with a classified briefing on the Pentagon's plans in the event of a war with China.
There was no war plans. There was no Chinese war plans. There was no secret plans. That's not what we were doing at the Pentagon.
But the New York Times stands by its story. They say that the classified meeting was canceled because of their report. President Trump today announcing several key Department of Education programs being moved to other parts of the government. Here's ABC News senior White House correspondent Selena Wang.
As the president has been trying to dismantle the Department of Education, he and his administration have been trying to reassure the American public that the critical functions of the federal agency are not going away, that they will be preserved. So the president giving a little bit more detail about how that would work. The student loan program, he said that would be going to the Small Business Administration. He said special needs programs, nutrition programs, that would be going to the Department of Health and Human Services.
And President Trump lashing out at the federal judge who ordered a temporary halt to deportations of Venezuelan migrants under an 18th century law. The judge criticizing the Trump administration for not complying with his verbal order to turn around 2 removal flights. The president says the deportees are all gang members.
You can't stop that with a judge sitting behind a bench that has no idea what goes on, who happens to be a radical left lunatic.
The U.S. District Judge yesterday blasted the government, providing, quote, woefully insufficient information about the deportations. Now the Trump administration considering invoking the state secrets privilege to prevent disclosing any information related to these deportations of the Venezuelan men. Rising food prices aren't just affecting grocery shoppers. A new study finds the price of eating out has nearly doubled at some restaurants. Andrea Fujii.
A new study from Finance Buzz found in the last 5 years, popular chain restaurants hiked their prices by an average of 42%. That's double the national inflation rate. Labor costs and other factors hitting restaurants' bottom lines. Another potential factor, more Americans these days are eating alone. The World Happiness Report, out this week, found 1 in 4 Americans now report eating all of their meals alone the previous day. The number higher among those under age 25.
That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
I was reading about how they came up with the happiness, like how they rated the happiness. So how did they come up with this thing? Mm-hmm. It was interesting. What they did was they came up with they'd started with the lowest. So they came up with the worst metrics they could, and they called this place like a pretend country called Dystopia. And then they rated it from there. And obviously Afghanistan was the worst. But Finland, when you read why they were the happiest, it's because freedom of choice in a lot of things, including, they mentioned, COVID and how they handled COVID. And the government, they have a lot of trust. The Europeans have a lot of trust in their government. Well, it's easy when the government takes care of you in a lot of ways. But they just have a lot of trust in their government. And that's, we don't. Inherently, I always tell everybody, inherently, we built our country on mistrust. We don't trust those people. They're charging us too damn much for tea. So we built our country on that.
I love this country started off tea, and we don't drink it. It's not a common drink anymore.
Tea all the time. It's what I do.
Page just for the founding fathers, or is it for you personally?
For me, I love tea. I drink iced tea all the time, and I drink hot tea as well. But
I will drink an Arnold Palmer.
You've been drinking that?
I'm very bad at my R's.
Long Island tea of ice. It's pretty good.
Arnold Palmer. I drink Arnold Palmer.
What happened?
Or Arizona iced tea. It was bound to happen.
It was.
It's only a matter of time.
But when you go and you look at like the top 10, it's all about trust in their government. We don't have trust in their government. And people ask me all the time, do you trust this government? I don't trust any government.
No.
I don't trust any of our government officials, because our government officials on both sides of the aisle are going to do what's best for them. And that's always going to be it. So, no, I don't trust any part of what they say. It's trust but verify. And I want transparency, to a certain extent. Obviously, there's certain things, we don't need to know. But no, I don't trust. And I know a lot of people want to give I would love to give the benefit of the doubt that, it's just this thing. Chris and I were talking about this before he left. Because, you get inside this business and you're in it for a long time. You're going to meet a bunch of people. And one of the things I've always made it a thing to do is I don't interview many politicians. A lot of them do. Dan has a lot of them on. Who'd you have on today? Because you were there.
Scott Sapicki?
Yeah, Sapicki. You have any of the... I tend not to, because I know I'm going to criticize them. And then they get all butthurt. And people call, and then they put pressure, and it's never been my thing, because you have to be able to criticize, and that includes your own side. I always say, if you can't criticize, just like not being able to criticize your own kid, you should be able to. And so, no, I don't trust. Do I trust that Trump is going to get it right every time? No chance. Do I trust that Elon's going to get it right? No chance. Do I think they're going to get it right a lot of the times? Yeah, absolutely. And do I think a lot of it's going to be more, gray area, okay for some, not better, but to think that we're always going to get the absolute truth. My God, we're still talking about the JFK files. There's zero trust in so many ways that has to do with our government, because our government, not only is it big, once you get to a point, too, it's easy to trust if you're in Finland, your government, because the power that we have is so much greater than so many other governments. And so that is just the reality of where we live. So, yeah, I have a trust but verify, kind of like, tilt my head a little bit and say, okay, we'll see. We'll see. Because, and so much of this, I think, comes in the world of the media now and how fractured it is. So with the fracture of the media, people now especially know that they can get their message out to their people. And in many cases, their people aren't going to challenge. That's why tomorrow when I go to this thing for Tesla, I think it's at 1 p.m., when I go there in Franklin, that so many of these people that are going to be out there protesting. Well, guess what? They've heard one side of a story. They've been told one side of something that somebody is shaping that they want them to hear this. This is what I want you to hear. And so they don't question it. Because they've given that person the ultimate trust. And I tell every one of you listening right now, do not do that. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on, left or right, indifferent. I think the thing that's bummed me out over the last 10, 15 years is the fact that we aren't curious anymore to do, like, is that the real story? Are you telling me the real, like, your kid comes home and says, I was out till da-da-da-da-da. And you're like, I'm not quite sure, it's just over here at so-and-so's house. And you're like, is that the real story? Well, okay, I'll take it at face value. No, you're inherently, you're skeptical. And we should be more skeptical. We should hold people's feet to the fire. Until, because it's and this goes back again to the media side of it, which is the media all too often now is you're working for your living, you're working for clicks, you're working for likes, you're working for all these things. You're going to tell the people that come to see you, hey, let me tell you all the things you want to hear. You want to hear this. You want to hear that. You want to hear how great this is. You want to hear how bad the other side is. Some of it may be true, but some of it's like we always say, you're telling the score of your team. You're not giving the whole score. And I want to hear the whole score because I'm adult enough to make up my own mind. But if you only give me a portion of it, and sometimes you get a portion that's available to us. We're not going to get everything at once, but and so you get what's available to us. But if you're not curious about, like, is that person telling me the truth? By the way, I was listening today to Dan. I do that. I like me some Dan. And that ED guy. That guy that was funny. He's
crazy texter.
He texts me all the time too. Go sell your ED medicine. I'm like, does anybody? I mean, I don't have a sponsorship, but I'll do it.
Hey, if the money's coming in, we'll sponsor it.
Yeah.
But it just does. There are a lot of people that just. I guess we made a good point though. When they call you a rhino, it's the rhino for them is. When I don't agree with you on something, on one thing, that makes you a rhino. You have to agree with me on every little detail, and if you do that, then that's impossible. It's impossible to do.
And with people who support Trump, in particular, like a certain MAGA crowd, they are you do everything Trump says or else. And even if, like, they were talking about, I don't know who he was talking about today, who's got like 100% score voting with Trump.
Oh, that was John Rose.
John Rose, yeah. So he got 100% score running for governor, voting for Trump. But it's not enough. Even with, what's her name?
Blackburn?
Blackburn or Cheney, right? Like she voted like 97 or 8% of the time they vote. It's not about that. It's about, it's all about what you want to be told something. And both sides, that's what they enjoy. They want to be told stuff. They don't care about outcomes in a lot of ways. Because many of these, it's honestly, especially at the federal level, politics has become more of a soap opera that you're trying to win than a actual outcome that will affect your life. It's, like inflation, the economy. We care about that. But when it comes to a lot of this other stuff, how much is it going to affect you on a day-to-day basis? Like I said, the HOA down the street that you may belong to may be a bigger pain in your ass, and you may have to deal with them far more than you ever deal with any kind of federal thing. Even with the state and the getting rid of the Department of Education, or at least attempting to, that is something that it's, for many of you listening, your kids are probably already grown up, but the state still handles 90% of it. But I just want to know the truth. And it's sad that I talk to a lot of people out there who don't want to know the truth. They're not curious. And that's like my big thing tomorrow. I'm curious as what you've been told. So you're here, you hate Elon, you think he's stealing your soul or whatever you think, whatever these people think. I don't know. And some of them may be paid. I mean, I'd like to find out where, what are you getting paid? Because I'm out here for free. Like, who's your agent? But also, I want to know, what have you been told? Have you not been curious to ask a question that is what I'm being told actually real? Because I don't think a lot of people are. And that, to me, is one of the saddest things, is people just don't seem to be curious. And they're also, we've wrapped ourselves up in a world of identity. I believe in this. And so if this is challenged, I get angry, and I don't want to hear it from you. And so I don't like you, and you're no longer in the tribe. Like you said, you're a rhino because you disagreed, so I'm kicking you out of the tribe. And that isn't good either, right? It's like, I used to talk to my mom when Nixon resigned. And I said, did people hold it over everybody's head who voted for Nixon? They're like, no, nobody did. Like, we wouldn't do that in today's world.
Well,
we want to score points.
Like, everyone voted for Nixon. That was a landslide when he won. So you can't get upset with the entire country.
No, but like, nobody, like in today's world, it's like you want to get over on the Twitter person or your Facebook or whatever. Well, that's the whole thing.
That's the problem with social media.
Mm-hmm.
Like I stand by. I made this post a while ago, but it's the worst thing that happened to our society, at least in modern times. Social media, just it's been more divisive than anything.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, what started out as something that you thought, oh cool, I can keep in touch with my grandma, I can send her pictures of my kids, and we can take pictures of food, and it'll be fun. Now turns out to be, I hate you.
Yeah. Like, people allowing to be awful to each other without the consequences of saying it to someone's face. Because imagine half the things you see on social media said to someone's face. Totally different scenario.
Oh, nobody has that.
Yeah.
Like, very few people.
Have
the
guts.
keyboard warrior world is, and I've had it a couple times too. I'm 5'10". I'm a pretty big dude. I'm inked up, bald. Some people see me and they all of a sudden life changes. Yeah. And it's just stupid anyways. You're adults. You shouldn't be fighting. And this is why we can't have nice things. You can't have a conversation. But I'm curious tomorrow as to, like, how did you get down a rabbit hole where Elon stole your soul? One person just texted, Elon stole my virginity.
Good Lord.
You're probably pregnant. I'd just be watching out for that. What do you think you get for a kid with Elon?
A couple million, at least.
I'm just curious. Like, if you have a kid with him, I mean, it's not like you're going to just go back to your regular gig.
No, he's writing you a big check for child
Well, he's taking
support.
care of you and the kid forever.
Yeah.
Or at least as long as till the kid is 18, I guess.
Just
21.
be careful when you go to the Tesla dealership, because these people, watch your back. Like, I'm not saying that in like a threatening way. I'm saying a legitimate, for your safety, just be on your toes. Because these people throw Molotov cocktails, for goodness sake. So
yeah, I think these ones, they're trying to distance themselves from that. That's why they're telling everybody stay on the sidewalk. But you never know. Crazy's everywhere.
And they're giving a big heads up too.
Yeah, they are. And I think, somebody texted and said, I think there's going to be a lot more pro Elon people there. And I think that's true. I think it's going to be a mixture of stuff. And like you said, you're going to have the looky-loos, and you're going to have that one person out there saying, someone's
going to be looking for a fight.
Probably.
I'm not saying physically, just in general, they'll be looking for some sort of confrontation, and they're going to get heated as soon as they get there.
Well, yeah, because especially people, and there's a lot of people on the right that can be rather angry. Trust me, I hear from you every day. But at the same time, the emotional side of stuff that I see with the liberals, they wake up waiting to be offended and looking for a reason to argue. They may not want a fist fight, but they would like to yell at you. Coming up, a lot of stuff still to get, a little Finally Friday stuff. I got the great sounds from the week. We do a little George Jones, musical accompaniment. We have a good time. I see Ken popping his head in there when we do it. We'll do that straight ahead. It is the Chad Benson Show. Super Talk 997. Oh, Birch Gold, my friends over there. Let me tell you something about gold. It's been around, I don't know, forever. And at a time when there's uncertainty in the world, when people are looking around saying inflation, a weakening dollar, how do you protect yourself and your retirement? All the things you've worked so hard for. Gold has been there, and it's a great safety net. Diversification is key, and Birch is going to help you with that. Text the word Benson to 989898 today. Now, when you do, they're going to send you out an investor kit. It's no hard sell, nothing like that. They're going to show you what they're all about and how they can show you an easy way to protect yourself and diversify all those things you work for yourself and for your family. And it's great. You can show you how they can move your 401k and your IRA over to a gold-backed IRA at no cost to you. Get the information. Take a look for yourself. Don't miss out because you don't want to buy a life raft after the boat sunk because, well, it's too late then. Get yourself a little gold. Do it with my friends over at Birch. Text the word Benson to 989898 today for Birch Gold.
For many of us, generators are becoming a must-have household appliance. From unpredictable weather to surprise outages, it's better to be safe than sorry. Generator Supercenter of Nashville offers fast and easy installations with 24/7 service and monitoring to all brands of generators and expert repairs done right. Our mission is to make owning a backup generator simple and easy. Visit your local store today or check us out online. Generator Supercenter of Nashville. We serve all Middle Tennessee.
Heathrow flights resuming. President Trump announces Boeing gets the contract to build the next generation Air Force fighter jet. These stories and more at 2:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I love doing this. We wrap up the week. I like to take a deep breath, a little musical accompaniment from our good friend George Jones. So we take a look and a listen back to the insanity, the craziness, and the interesting stuff that took place this week.
A federal judge ruled that deporting migrants without due process violated long-standing U.S. asylum protections.
It's a blatantly illegal invocation of that statute to send these people abroad.
Very grateful to President Bukele and to El Salvador for accepting these heinous monsters.
That day in Dallas haunting the country for 62 years.
There are going to be surprises in there, but I just don't think there are going to be that many surprises about JFK's assassination.
And you know what their attitude is? I made my money all by myself. How dare your government take my money from me? I don't want to pay taxes.
What do you make of these numbers for the Democrats?
How low can you go? Voters' views of Democrats in Congress, the lowest ever approval ratings on record.
I'm waiting for these prices to lower, like Trump said on day one.
There's a word for this: corruption.
Elon was curled up in his lap like a baby.
Yeah, I mean, it's really come as quite a shock to me.
We're not mad enough yet to take to the streets en masse and protest what is being taken from us.
And splashdown, Crew 9 back on Earth.
We'll celebrate for a while.
Dad, you know, there are some nights where you're a real good DJ on the radio waves. Bro, get your act together. You're either with us or in America or you're not. If you're not, then get the f*** out of this country yourself, you moron.
Ah, solid fun week.
Maybe that guy will be out there tomorrow.
I was waiting for that one moment.
That guy was spectacular.
He played again. That guy.
I think I've got. He was great. If you guys didn't hear, this guy called earlier this week.
That's got to be the top, like number one of the week, number one highlight of the week.
Yeah, he was spectacular. He's not a fan of me, but you know what? Here we go. This guy was good times.
Chad, you know, there are some nights where you're a real good DJ on the radio waves.
Not a DJ.
And there are some nights when you're absolutely horrible, like tonight. Yeah, I got a problem with you tonight, buddy. Those Venezuelan gang members have no business being here in America. They have flat out invaded our country, and yes, that is an act of war. And Donald Trump is doing the right thing by getting them out of here. You sending out mixed signals saying, yep, I want them out of here, yet the Constitution has a right to do its thing too? No, it doesn't. In certain instances, no, it doesn't. You need to stop with the mixed signals and just flat out say you're with Trump or you're not. You see, that's what makes me think you're a libtard. Stupid, dumb libtard. Wow. Bro, get your act together. You're either with us or in America or you're not. If you're not, then get the out of this country yourself, you moron.
Sir, this is a Burger King.
Yeah.
You just tell me what you want to eat.
That's good. That guy's spectacular. Thank you. You're either with us, and yeah.
To hell with the Constitution.
To hell with the Constitution.
You could tell he liked the word libtard because he said it twice. He's
Yeah.
like, you know, yeah, you are that.
I mean, the whole thing about just saying, no, the Constitution, Trump should be able to do whatever he wants because screw the Constitution. Okay, there you go. You've said everything I need to know about that, sir. Have another drink. By the way, speaking of that, people are asking, is there vodka in your iced tea? You were trying to explain it.
Sometimes.
You're like, I had a Palmer.
Arnold Palmer. I just couldn't say Arnold.
An
I don't know why.
Arnold Palmer.
I had a Palmer. It was delicious.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
You know that guy used to play golf? He was pretty good at it until Arnold Palmer did. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then Woods Tiger really
So I
showed this
hit
stuff.
the ball up in the air and everything. He's pretty good. By the way, the ED guy texted me.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Where?
He texted me. He said something about.
Not informed. Oh, well.
Yeah.
The other guy, like, he's got to put more curse words in there to make it more entertaining.
What's this thing with ED that people are obsessed with? Like I said, if I'm taking new clients, if you want me to talk about ED.
He's a salesman for these pills, and he's just trying to get advertisements on the air for them. That's the real story.
I don't drink, but I sure do gamble. Do I? That's right, with Prize Picks coming up in a little bit. This is the Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7.
$2:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Well, flights at Heathrow officially beginning to resume more than 18 hours after a fire shut down the airport, disrupting travel around the world. Counter-terror police in the UK investigating the incident, with the government saying there are still questions to answer. The hope is everything will be back to normal by tomorrow. Back here in this country, an alleged gangbanger wanted for human trafficking has become the first migrant detained under President Trump's new Invoked Alien Enemies Act. Homeland Security agents alongside Florida cops arrested Franklin Jose Jimenez Bracho, successfully collared him. They say he is a known Trinidad gang member. And that was in Florida. President Trump says Boeing has won a $20 billion contract to build the Air Force's new fighter jet, which Trump says our enemies will never see if ever needed.
It'll be known as the F-47. The generals picked a title, and it's a beautiful number. F-47.
The new jet's designed with the China threat in mind. President Trump doubling down on the federal judge who claims the Department of Justice is stonewalling his demands for answers as to why deportation flights continue despite his verbal order to return them.
You can't stop that with a judge sitting behind a bench that has no idea what goes on, who happens to be a radical left lunatic.
And he insisted his administration can deport migrants without providing due process or evidence.
Well, that's what the law says, and that's what our country needs, because unfortunately, they allowed millions of people to come into our country.
Stephen Portnoy.
In a court filing, Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche confirms that he has been a part of ongoing conversations at the cabinet level about invoking the state secrets privilege, a legal way of keeping national security matters from the court. Judge James Boasberg has been seeking details about deportations under the Alien Enemies Act and the number of people who may be subject to them. Questions the administration has rebuffed or refused to answer.
That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Retirement Ready Toolkit. Get your retirement ready, and there's a way to do that. Protect yourself. And it's calling Beacon Capital. And it's simple and easy to do. 615-488-9303. Maybe you're in retirement and you're feeling unsettled by all the things that are happening. Beacon can help you with that. And it's a free retirement ready toolkit. Call 615-488-9303. They're going to get you out a Money Enough for Life book, retirement planning checklist, and a maximizing your retirement income white paper. It's no cost, no obligation, and there's no pressure. The beauty of Beacon is they're local. You sit down and talk with them, but a lot of people worry about what's happening right now. There's an unsettledness, and the last thing you want to do is unretire from retirement because you have to. Call them today and put your mind at ease. Call 615-488-9303 to get your free retirement-ready toolkit. That's 615-488-9303, or find them online at AskBeaconNow.com. Doot. Oh, man. Oh, baby. What a day. A lot of you chiming in about what we were talking about earlier about just the ridiculousness in the way that people act online and, how people are, people are afraid, I think, of the truth because they don't want to hear something that goes against their belief. And because they've wrapped themselves up in something. And in many cases, especially in politics, they wrap themselves up and that becomes their whole identity. And what happens is you have a tribe and everybody's afraid to piss off the tribe. They don't want to be kicked out of the club. So they're like, no. And that's, to me, it's, you do a disservice to everybody. I mean, I want to know, what's going on. I've been covering a lot of this stuff because I do a lot of shows, do a lot of hits in a bunch of other places and stuff. And one of the people for the deportations in the flights, one of the people who testified under oath, they asked him, are all these people part of, Trende or 18th Street or MS-13? And do they have criminal records? And he's like, no, but they would have, but they didn't, they weren't here long enough. I'm like, well, that's not what I want transparency. This is what I was promised across the board. I want it because it's A, the right thing to do, but B, when everybody's accusing you of doing all these things, showing them that's not what we've done. And this is what it is. I mean, we need to get back to that. We also need to get back. Somebody said, we're so connected right now, but we're so far apart. We are so far apart. I mean, when Ken was doing that story about people eating at restaurants and how many young people eat by themselves, that's kind of sad.
It is.
You don't have a group of friends to hang out with? No. Just eating by themselves, and that's weird.
Got my friend who's a rock named Greg.
You would.
I would. I do.
He and I shared Palmers together. We drink every day.
Hey, he keeps me on a limit. He keeps me on a drink limit. I just haven't found that limit yet.
No, you should. You know what's neat? Here's a perfect example of something that I'm looking at colleges and finding that High Point University that's in the college.
Oh yeah.
Did you? So first of all, somebody said it's like watching The Sims. If you've ever seen their campus, it's unreal, super. But they have ice cream. They have an ice cream station, so you can go get ice cream anytime you want.
All right.
But once a month, everybody is required to go to. They have a Morton's steakhouse. It is super shishi, really. Every student has to go once a month. You eat for free, but it's a lab because you have to learn how to conduct business and hold conversations.
Yeah, that's, I think that could be one of the benefits of states that are passing laws to have kids put their cell phones up when they go into the classroom or into school. I remember for my son, especially, during COVID and after, he was in the 6th grade and everything stopped. No longer were they able to, he couldn't, when he got to school, they all had assigned seats in the gymnasium. You couldn't just walk over to your group of friends. And everything was so structured. And I think that this generation has lost a lot because of all the COVID lockdowns and just the...
Well, the structure itself was happening before. I mean, in California, they used to have recess coaches. I didn't need a coach for recess.
We had one teacher that wouldn't even pay attention.
No. They're over in the corner smoking cigarettes and didn't really... As long as you didn't get hit by a bus, it was a win.
Yeah.
Right? And the other thing is, we don't let kids figure out how to get through a dispute, right? Part of being little and young and going out and part of the tribe and the whole 9 yards is You build your friendships. You make up games. You come up with rules. You work through them. You used to ride your bike anywhere and find your friend. You knew where your friends were because 40 bikes were out in front of their house.
Yes.
We joke all the time. MTV used to run a commercial going, "Do you know where your kids are?" And parents would be like, "Oh, damn, we got kids. We should probably figure out where they are."
Yeah.
We don't now. Nowadays, it's play dates. It's all play dates. I've scheduled a play date. I'm going to put you in a sterile room with another person your side, and you guys will play.
And if you start arguing, we'll
going
home.
We'll come in and figure it out. Oh, my Lord. It's just sad. It's just sad. And
it's you can see it. I can see it in my son and his friends that year that they lost.
You can't get that back.
No.
And it's not just about, you can catch up on the education, especially if you care about education. You can catch up on that. But you can't catch up on, like, the year, like, from kindergarten to second or third grade, depending on, if you're in California, some of these places. One of the things I talked about is kids missed out on the cues of facial expressions.
Yes.
At a time that they needed it. We've hamstrung way too many kids.
Too protective.
Yeah.
I mean, I tell you, man, I am so thankful for the time that we grew up.
Yeah.
Because I'm thankful for my parents because they gave me a lot of freedom, man.
Yeah. Well, I used to think they gave me freedom, and then I realized I just didn't really care that much. I used to think you really cared and trusted me, and now as I got older, I realized, you just weren't bothered.
But I definitely think that I'll say this: compared to 15-year-olds today, if you take a 15-year-old today and put them back in our time, they'll be like a toddler.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Like for all their knowledge and technology and all that kind of stuff, they wouldn't understand how to get out of a situation that would be, it to us was just no big deal, right? Like you're doing something, hopping over a fence, get a ball, this, that, and the other. The ball would just sit there for hours.
Yes.
I don't know how we're going to get it.
Well, guess game's over.
That's it. We all quit, but that's okay because, your parents are there. That's the other thing. We just don't let kids play.
Yeah.
God, that's such a part of being a child.
In my neighborhood, man, I see these kids get off the bus and they disappear.
Yeah.
They disappear. They're gone.
Today we left because we went out and we had an errand run this morning, and the bus came by and we saw all these kids coming out of our building. I've never seen them before.
Exactly.
Never seen them before. And I thought, wow, that's weird. Like, that is, but you're right. Like, we open the door to the garage, we pull our car in, we shut it, we go in.
Yeah.
And that's how we become tribal. Again, that's how we become this weird tribal, nation where it's like we only want, I lived in our house in Arizona. I didn't know any of our neighbors for a long time. And I finally met one of the neighbors who I didn't even know was our neighbor when he was working at the golf course at the Golf Pro. He goes, "Oh, I know you. You got all the big lizards. You live across the street from me." I didn't even know anybody lived there. I thought it was somebody. I thought it was one of those houses.
Yeah.
That because it's Arizona, so we have a lot of snowbirds. That's what I thought it was.
Yeah, just somebody coming down for the winter.
That was 3 years after I'd lived there. That's how sad it is. And I'm outside all the time. Like my kids, they run free. You couldn't do that today. And that's the other side of it too. You couldn't do that today because the cops will come.
Yeah. Yeah, there are parents getting the police called on them because their kids are alone at the park.
Which is so weird. They have to wear these little badges. I'm a free-range kid. No, you're just a kid.
Badges? We don't need no stinking badges.
We don't need no stinking badges.
Sorry, I had to. Contractually obligated to do that.
I got another. Here's one. I'll do a Dan thing. You should never have stayed wherever you were. Oh, you should have stayed wherever you were before. You have no clue what you're talking about. I can't even stay on topic. Well, what are you talking about? What topic do you want me to stay on? Do you want me to talk politics 24/7? Nah, it's boring.
I think that's our boss actually texting you.
It could be. Could be. Us Gen Xers were feral kids. Yeah, we drank out of hoses. How many times were you going down the street and it was hot and you went up to somebody else's house? You didn't know who they were, but they had a hose out there and you're like, I'm going to go take a drink.
Okay, I didn't do that.
Yeah.
Because they could poison
Well,
Abby.
because your HOA would be really mad at you.
We didn't have an HOA. Thank God.
Thank God. We were alone for 18 hours in the summer. Yeah, we were.
This 4360 guy's in, he's a guy that, like, I always think about this. Like, we just talked about this. If you disagree with him on one issue, you're dead to him.
Of course. I mean, did you guys get the same thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what the issue is, one disagreement and some people just can't-
that's the tribal side of things in life. It's you do everything I say and don't ever challenge my belief or don't ever talk about anything I don't want to hear because it'll make me upset and angry.
Well, we like you here, Chad.
Well, I'm not going anywhere.
Good.
Hose water is the best. You got to let it, especially in the summer, though, you got to let it go for a little bit first because otherwise you take that drink. Ooh, you probably never had hose water, did you?
I have had hose water.
Really?
Yes. I played outside as a kid. I was a normal kid. Then the N64 came out, and then I was a recluse.
You had to make sure that hose was in the shade, though.
You did. Yeah. You have to let it come out a little bit.
It's like, it's as soon as you turn that on, regardless of the day, if it's in the sun in the summer, it's boiling hot.
Man, a lot of people saying, I love hose water.
Yeah.
Hose water was great.
It was good.
Because you were so hot, you're so sweaty. And the other thing is, too, we didn't care what we look like.
Yeah.
Man, I see my daughter 6. You look at a 6-year-old who's having a great time, and you think if you look like that, people are like, you're either homeless, you're feral, you're on drugs, right? Snot bubbles, hair's a mess, you got dirt all over your face. You're having the best time of your life.
Also, when you drink from the hose water, you're dying of thirst. So that it's just once you're dying of thirst, any water tastes amazing.
It's just so great. It is the best water. But we've decided now we want to live indoors. We want to have only communications where we can yell at each other and become so tribal that we can't even, just have any conversations.
And we buy water in bottles that comes from the Chicago Municipal Water Supply.
That's right. From Nestle.
Besides, like, the only time you should go inside if there's a laser tag place inside. That was the fun times.
Oh,
laser tag was awesome.
Oh, laser tag. We didn't have laser tag. We had, let's shoot each other with a BB gun.
BB guns.
It's a different kind of
water
tag.
balloon fights?
Bottle rockets.
Oh, yeah. Water balloon fights were great. They were fantastic.
But you go the extra mile of grabbing like a slingshot with the water balloon so it hurts extra. So you just have someone stand with their back to you and you slingshot it full force right in their back and it just leaves a massive red welt.
Those great times. Somebody said, and that thing, that dirt ring under your neck, that's when you know life was good.
Yes, sir.
Oh, good God, that was great. Those are great times. But also out of those times came friendships that I bet you can. Ken, do you have friends from when you were a kid?
Oh, yes.
I do too.
Yeah, I mean, I still have, I'm trying to think back as the friend, I still have a friend who was a neighbor whenever I was in the 2nd grade.
Yeah.
We still message on Facebook from time to time.
I have my 3 best friends. It's funny, my wife, when we went to a wedding to see my little sister get married, she was talking to one of my best friends' mom. And she goes, so you've known Chad? She goes, I've known Chad since before he was born, when he was still in still in his mom's stomach. She goes, and my son has known his mom the same amount of time because we were born a couple months apart. We have known each other. Our other friend, we all went to co-op together from like 3. Yeah. So there's like 8 of us that still talk almost on a daily basis.
That's cool, man.
You don't have that in today's world.
No.
And women never have that. Whoever they met that hour is their best friend. As we know, ladies, I'm kidding. We're going to wrap it up straight ahead. Speaking of that, I think Matt's coming up. I've got several texts throughout the last couple of days that says, tell Matt to tell everybody to go home and beat their kids. So that's interesting.
Wiffle ball bat wars.
Those are
ICU 5474. Wiffle ball bats. Wiffle ball was the best.
Those wiffle balls would hurt.
Yeah.
They would.
And those skinny yellow bats also hurt.
Yes, they did. But you know what? They're awesome.
Yeah.
And you deserve it. And jumping off the roof into a pool. I mean, looking back on it, maybe not the best thing in the world to do.
What's the roof for then?
Apparently it's for keeping out stuff at night.
Smoking cigarettes.
Smoking cigarettes. We'll wrap it up straight ahead. Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7. Oh, Prize Picks. It's fantasy downright. It's fantasy. You're saying, what's fantasy? Well, imagine this. You're picking players, right? You're picking what do I think a player is going to do? Is he going to excel tonight, right? Like baseball. Do you think Ohtani, greatest baseball player in the history of mankind, is going to get more than 1.5 hits? Above or below? It's that simple. Do you think that Aaron Judge is going to get more than over a half a home run? It's over under. They tease you. That's how you do it. Now, there's a great thing about what goes on with Prize Picks. You download the app. It's easy to play. Play your first $5 lineup. And guess what? You get $50 instantly into your account. Win or lose. It's that simple. If you're like me, you love sports, you love players, this is what it's all about. It's so easy to do, and it's fun. It takes about 60 seconds. Download the app today. Use my code Chad. Play your first $5 lineup. Get a $50 bonus immediately. Go right now. Download the app. Play that $5. Get that $50. Win or lose. And you know you're going to win. Prize Picks. Run your game. Must be 21. Present in Tennessee. Gambling problems? Call 1-800-889-9789. Matt and I having a vigorous conversation. You know, it's funny. We were talking about arguing. So when I was out in Phoenix, my on-air partner, Gatos, and I, we would get into shouting matches on the air. And we would always joke, we were super best friends. People didn't realize that while we would get into it over one subject, next subject would be on, we'd agree.
Mm-hmm.
And people would say, you guys must hate each other. We'd even have people in the office come look in. And the minute it went off, we'd start laughing and high-fiving. Oh, that was great, dude. That was great, good, vigorous conversation. It was never personal.
Right. No, I mean, don't take these things personally.
No, I don't.
How's it going? I barely saw you when I sat down. You got that camouflage on.
I know. I'm very camouflagey. It's going well. I might wear. I've got a green one of these tomorrow, just in case I have to duck and weave from all the chaos.
I'm excited for you. If I did not have a camper to move tomorrow,
it's camper moving time.
It's camper moving day tomorrow, and if I did not have a camper to move tomorrow, my brother's coming into town. I was admitting this to Chris Webber a moment ago, and I told Chris that I would not be talking about this on the radio. So here we go, talking about it on the radio. My brother is a safety valve, but my brother drove. He was a long haul trucker for a while. Drove 18-wheelers. He's a mechanic, and he's very good with a trailer. I mean, exceptional with a trailer, and I know this. And so I'm bringing him as a safety net. When we move the camper, we're going to be in a mildly tight spot with maybe people watching. There's nothing that will emasculate you quicker.
Have you ever seen the Family Guy when he's trying to back the boat into the water?
Yeah.
And he goes, I feel like these people know I can't please my wife.
Nothing will emasculate you faster.
No,
so,
no.
Yeah.
It's
so I'll be doing that.
counterintuitive.
Hey, enjoy your time with the political left and all the supporters.
It's going to be a lot of fun out there. You have a good weekend, and don't let anybody see what's going on. But just in case, have your brother film some of it.
Sure. No, he'll be driving by then.
For some of you, I'll be back Monday. For the others, I can't wait to hear you yell at me Monday. Have a good weekend. Super Talk 987.